Bonjour, we are G2T14, presenting to you Gloob, a travel platform for students by students. Let's say hi to Jake, a university student like many of us here today. Jake is excited to head for his university exchange at the University of London. He loves to explore and try out local food places, as well as chill at quiet cafes tucked away from the hustle and bustle of the city. He wants to avoid popular tourist attractions as they are always crowded and expensive. However, finding such hidden gems and planning itineraries requires a lot of research, effort, and time. Let's help him out. Firstly, let's take a deep dive into the problems that we university students face when preparing for exchange. Students often face great difficulty finding authentic experiences when studying abroad. This can be mainly attributed to the lack of online resources and guides. As such, many of us turn to our seniors or peers for recommendations. We go around searching and compiling information, but this whole process is very inefficient and simply takes up too much time. And finally, when we do have a list of places we want to visit, we have to rack our brains to come up with the perfect travel itinerary. How do we solve these problems? Presenting to you our solution, Gloob. Gloob is a web app featuring 3 distinct features. Firstly, Gloob recommends hidden gems loved by other fellow exchange students. Each recommended location comes with comprehensive details such as address, opening hours, affordability, reviews, and etc., ensuring that you are well informed in your travel planning. Secondly, Gloob can optimize your itinerary and obtain the best routes for your perfect trip. And finally, Gloob is a community-centric platform where Gloobers can share recommendations and reviews with one another. Together, these 3 features makes Gloob the perfect travel companion for your exchange trip. Let's take a walk through the app with Jake. He has heard many amazing things about an app called Gloob that enables students to have an immersive cultural experience. This is wonderful news to Jake, as that is exactly what he's looking for. He launches Gloob and is taken away by the app's intuitive and seamless user design. Despite being in Singapore, he sees that the app has already generated hidden gems, which are locations that are reviewed by other exchange students that are near his university. He is delighted and checks some of them out. He also notices that there is a search function. Knowing that he has a love for France, he decides to search out France Eiffel Tower, where he would like to be visiting. With a few taps, he finds 2 more recommended locations: Musée de l'Orangerie, France, and Hotel Biron, France. Okay. Upon his search, he finds popular hidden gems near his search and finds a few exotic and interesting places where he plans to visit in the future. He also sees generic search results, which he might take an interest in if he doesn't mind them being more popular. He then decides to discover other hidden gems that are going to be in London, and as such conducts a search for them under the discovery page. He's able to filter by country and decides to take a look at France, since he has an interest there. After clicking on the filter, he is able to find more hidden gems found by students. With a few more spots in mind, Jake then decides to start planning his trip to France using the itinerary planning function, where he is able to input a few locations of his choice under the itinerary planning page.
So now the map here retrieves the location and time zone of the user and display the style of the map accordingly. As Jake adds the location he wants to visit into the itinerary planning page, waypoints of the location will be displayed on the map. He first decides to visit Hotel Biron, France. Next, he decides to visit the Dome of Les Invalides in France. The third location that he wants to visit is the Jardin du Luxembourg in France. The last location he wants to visit is the Eiffel Tower in France. Upon clicking the Calculate Distance button, the distance and time taken to travel between all locations will be shown through hovering over the route line. Jake notices the settings of map style can be changed to suit the style he desires. He decides to go with the early morning style. Jake can also decide his mode of transport, driving with or without live traffic data. Or cycling. He also has the option to decide to find a route for walking throughout the 4 locations. Jake decides to travel by car with live traffic data. He notices the Optimize Your Route feature, intrigued by the possibility of reordering the locations for an even more efficient route. Upon clicking the button, the map shows a new optimized route, ensuring he maximizes his exploration time with a new order of visitation for the locations. Feeling more confident about his adventure, Jake clicks the Bring Me for a Tour button. A 3D interactive display showcases the locations he has chosen, allowing him to virtually wander through the locations he had selected. Now, with Gloob's seamless integration of morning and night map styles for hidden gem discovery and itinerary planning, Jake now feels fully prepared to embark on his London exploration. The app has not only simplified his journey, but also connected him with a community of like-minded explorers, turning his exchange experience into an unforgettable adventure spanning from sunrise to moonlight.
Later, Jake will have visited so many new places. He wishes to share his new findings with the Gloob community. Hence, he wishes to add a review for a place called the Gherkin. What he sees before him is a form with various input fields, such as affordability, safety, and overall ratings. He ranks them accordingly and fills out the remaining input fields. Should the place not exist in our database, he can choose to add a new hidden gem as well. Google API will dynamically fill the opening hours of this new place should it be able to be found on Google API. And as such, he presses on the Add New Gem button, adding this new location to our database. The benefits that Gloob brings are twofold. Firstly, it allows students to save time searching for hidden gems and planning for their perfect trip. They do not need to do intensive search on the web, as Gloob provides them with automatic and popular recommendations. Secondly, by promoting local experiences and tourism, Gloob can support small businesses, local artisans, and tour guides. This helps generate income and employment opportunities in local communities, contributing to economic growth, which is the eighth SDG. Let's take a deep dive into the technologies and frameworks used in Gloob. We developed our app using Vue.js framework and incorporated various APIs such as Mapbox and Google. For our database, we use Firebase, and as for deployment, we use a Vercel app. On the front end, we primarily use Tailwind CSS and Vanilla CSS. We also incorporated components from Flowbyte and Daisy UI, as well as icons from Ion Icons and SVG to beautify our interface. On the back end, one of our key APIs was Mapbox. We use Mapbox for our itinerary planning page, where we capitalized on its ability to optimize routes between locations, as well as aesthetic 3D interactive maps to create a highly customizable itinerary planning function. The second key API we used was Google API, used to auto-generate locations in the search box, as well as obtain key information such as location names, address, and images to fill our location cards. To further bolster the aesthetics of our page, we incorporated images generated from Unsplash API. Moving on to our backend, our Firebase stores ancestral information about locations, location images, and reviews. And finally, we incorporated 3 key technologies from beyond the lab. We use GitHub for efficient collaboration and version control, Firebase for dynamic data storage, and Firebase authentication for authentication of accounts. With that, thank you for walking through the journey with Gloob. We look forward to your next best adventure.